we've already done solving equations, but now we're going to add the stuff that we need to in order for us to be able to solve inequalities. Solving inequalities, I'm not even going to do any examples with you because solving inequalities is, there's only one difference. The first thing is we're going to label this solving equations and inequalities. Solving equations and inequalities. So before it was just equations, now we're adding the inequality part. And the inequality part is literally one extra thing. I'm pretty confident y'all don't understand why that one extra thing, I should have done screen record, but that's okay, we'll zip these together. That one extra thing, it's an air freshener. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, that one extra thing, I'm pretty sure you don't know why you do it, so I'm going to show you why here in a minute. But here is the one extra thing that you do. So down at the bottom, it happens after step 6, okay? So it's right here. When you divide, define 1x, okay? So let me zoom in so we can see this. And that extra thing is when we have an inequality, oops. So for inequalities, flip the inequality sign if the coefficient of x is negative. Okay, we're gonna, This is cone flip, yes. This is cone flip. Okay, and I do cone flip here. I know Miss Terry would do cone flip right here at step 4. She would do cone flip at step 4. I do cone flip at step 6, but you could also do cone flip at step 4. Okay? All right, take a minute and write that down. All right, so we should have this written down. So now I'm going to show you why this works. I know, I suspect a lot of you, like, you don't know why. You just know they told you to flip the sign. So I'm going to show you why. Okay, so let's look at the inequality 5 greater than negative 2. Is that true? Is 5 greater than negative 2? Yes. Yeah, it totally is. Okay. Now, if we add 3 to both sides, now we have 8 greater than 1. Is it still true? Yes. Yeah, 8 is greater than 1. What if I subtract 10 from both sides? Now I have negative 2 is greater than negative 9. Well, that's still true because negative 2 is more positive than negative 9. So that is true. All right. What if I multiply both sides by 4? I have negative 8 greater than negative 36. Is negative 8 more positive than negative 36? Then it's greater. Okay. Remember, we don't look at the number. We're not talking about slope now. We're talking about the numbers. Okay. Negative 8 is technically greater than negative 36.
It's closest to 0.
It's closest to 0. What if I divide both sides by 2? Now I have negative 4 greater than negative 18? Yes, it's close to yes. Okay, now, if I multiply both sides by negative 3, I have 12 greater than 54. Is 12 greater than 54? No. So the reason why this happens, this is just a feature of numbers. When I multiply by negative 3, I change the truth of that inequality. And in order to fix it, I have to flip the sign, so I have 12 less than 54. That's why I have to do it. I have to do it because as soon as I multiply by a negative, it's not true anymore until I flip the sign. It's just the way the numbers work, okay? Now, likewise, if I divide both sides by negative 2, I have negative 6 less than negative 27. That's also not true, so to fix it, to make it true, I got to flip the inequality sign. This is why we have to flip the inequality sign, because as soon as we multiply by a negative or divide by a negative, it stops being true. And in order to make it true, I got to flip the sign. It's just the way the numbers work. Okay? Now, I'm going to try and show this to you under the hover cam. I don't know how well it's going to work. Okay? So, this is something that okay, so, if you have this is a greater than sign, right? So if I flip this greater than sign, I have a less than sign, right? Okay? What if I have a less than sign? If I flip it, now I have a greater than sign. What about equal sign? This is an equal sign. If I flip my equal sign, what do I have? I have an equal sign, okay? So this has always been part of our process. It just never mattered before now because when you flip an equal sign, it looks the same. We've never had to flip the sign because if you flip an equal sign, it still looks like an equal sign. It only matters when we get to inequalities. So it's kind of always been part of the process. It just never mattered when we had equal signs. It matters now because an inequality sign, when I flip an inequality, it looks different. Okay? So if you don't understand why, that's fine. Just understand what. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you're going to have to flip that inequality sign. And what I mean by that is you're going to reverse it. Okay? Yeah, so if it was greater than, now it's going to become less than. Okay? The other time you'll flip the inequality sign, so when we solve inequalities, if you solve them by hand, it's easiest to, words are hard. It's easiest to, okay, if you solve it and you get 4 greater than x, it's not wrong. I'm never going to mark that wrong. But when we're graphing, I'm going to teach you some tricks. I know I'm not supposed to teach you tricks, but both of these are the same and they're equivalent, and if this was the answer, they'd both be correct. This one is easier to graph with the tricks I'm going to show you. Okay? Now you notice when I flipped x less than 5, I flipped everything. So think about it like this, like x less than 5, when I flip it, the 5's over here, this becomes greater than, everything flips. So the position of everything flips. Does that make sense? So when I switch these to opposite sides, I got the sign turned 2. So I got to turn the sign in between them to keep it true. Okay? All right. So let's get past that. We can have no solution and infinitely many solutions. What I want you guys to do is I want you to take a minute, and you guys picked up a white piece of paper. In the very back of your booklet, I want you all to take a minute and staple that in. Okay? We're going to do a couple of examples, and then we'll... Alrighty, so these two problems were actually on STAR. So this one, number 10, is a released question from last year's 2021 STAR. Number 30 was a released question from the 2018 STAR. So both of these questions were asked. Now, every year they ask a question with an equation. Not as often, like every other year or so, they'll ask a question with an inequality. But since it's a skill that you're required to know, you could be asked any year about inequalities. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to solve these in the calculator. Now, I've already shown you one way to solve an equation in the calculator. I'm going to show you another one. Now, what I want you guys to do, I want you to put your pencils down, put your calculators down, and I want you to just watch while I do this problem, because it's kind of weird what I'm about to ask you to do. All right? So first I'm going to clear RAM because, like, I don't know what else I got in there. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting this equation into my calculator. Okay, I'm going to start by putting this in my calculator. So I go to y equals, and obviously I'm not going to use y because the only thing I can put in here is x. So I'm going to do 4 parentheses x minus 3 close parentheses plus 19. Now I just told you to put the entire equation in the calculator in y1. But what about the equal sign? Well, I'm so glad you asked. The equation or inequality signs are in second math. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit second math and look. All of the equal and equality, the equal sign, the not equal sign, the inequality signs, they're all in there. Well, I want equal, so I'm going to pick 1, and there it is. It's in there now. Oh, I know. Just again, I went to second math, and I picked that one. I know, mind blown. Now I put the rest of it. 8 parentheses, 2x plus 3 plus 7. Okay, so I've got the whole thing in there. I'm just going to check it because that was kind of crazy. 4x minus 3 plus 19 equals 8. 2x plus 3 plus 7. Okay, now I'm going to look at the table. I don't know what this would look. I don't think this would look like anything if I put it in there. Okay, so now what I'm looking now, when you look at this, all you see are zeros. Okay, but I see 2. So 0 means false. 1 means true. So false means not the answer. Okay, well 2 has a 0 next to it, so I know 2 is not the answer. Okay, now let's look at negative 1/2. Remember how I told you guys can jump around in a table? Well, this is kind of a great thing to know how to jump around because I can jump straight to any fraction decimal or square root even. Okay, so I can jump, if I hit second window, I can jump straight to negative 1/2. I just do top divided by bottom, so negative 1/2. Now when I hit table, it jumps me right there. And what do I see next to negative 0.5? I see a 0, so F's not the answer. And hey, look at that. There's 0.5, which is half, also not the answer. Now, just for the heck of it, let's put in -2 and jump to that. And look what it has next to it. A 1, which makes it the answer. It really is. It really, really is. Okay? So, what do we think about that? I want you guys to take a minute and I want you to try that. Now, the steps are over here on this side, so I want you to take a second and I want you to try to enter that equation into your calculator. Okay? Yeah, the 2021. We're not doing the 2018 yet. Do the 2021. So, most of you had a chance to try this one. All right? Were there any questions about how to do it or anything that I need to clarify? Remember, to get to equation the equal and equality signs, they're in second math. And you're looking for ones. So a 1 is true, a 0 is false. We're looking for ones. Okay, now, I want you to enter this one in your calculator. Just get it entered, and then we're going to talk about, like, what to do with it. Because with an inequality, it's a little different. Also remember, minus in the middle. So is this a minus sign or a negative sign? Is it in the middle? Then it's not a minus sign, it's a negative. Okay? If you see syntax, error syntax, that means you put a minus instead of a negative. Now I'm going to go second math, and this time my inequality sign is greater than or equal to, so I'm just going to pick that one and hit enter. Puts it in there for me. Okay, so now I'm looking at my table. I'm going to hit second. Well, I'm already in here. So I want to jump around to these values. I mean, I can just scroll down to 5. Now, what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for some ones. Either ones somewhere around the number I'm looking at. So they could be on the number or above or below it, but I need to see a 1 around it. Do I see any ones around the 5? So I don't see a 1 at the 5, above it or below it. So 5 is x greater than or equal to 5 is not the number I'm looking for. We'll get there, okay? Yeah. Now, I'm going to jump this one. My next option is 45. So I'm going to jump to 45. Do you see any ones on or around 45? Nope, so it can't be 45. Now, let's jump to -5. Now, -5 has a 1 on it and a 1 above it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write x. Now, what I write over here depends on what this sign is. And this is where it gets a little weird and tricky. Okay, it says if I have less than or equal to, without less than or greater than, without the or equal to, I'm going to look for the first 0. If I have or equal to, so less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, I look for the first 1. So what am I looking for? The first 1 or the first 0? I have or equal to. I'm looking for the first 1. So I'm going to put the x value in that column. Okay, now I know that this is it, but let's pretend that we had answer choice K. We have answer choice H and answer choice K, which is x is greater than or equal to -5. Because let's pretend we had 2 answers that had -5 on them. And now I got to figure out which one it is. Okay? So I know that my inequality is going to be one of these two. And so I'm going to look at these numbers. So you see how my 1s are going up here? What's happening to the values of these numbers? Are they getting bigger or smaller? They're getting smaller, so it's less than or equal to. Somebody get the door. So they're getting smaller, so it's less than or equal to. If they were getting bigger, it'd be greater than or equal to. All right. So, do you guys kind of see why we did this? Kind of. Now let me show you. Let's look at an example from your homework. I just want to show you this because I want to okay, just go away. Okay, so let's take a look at let's look at number 13 here. Okay, it says 8 greater than or equal to -2x. Okay, the ones on your homework are really easy. So 8. No, I don't want to do that one. Hold on. Let's do this one. Let's do the bottom one. Hold on a second. Let's do x minus 7 less than -1. Okay? Now, when I look at the table, okay, I see, now all of these have a 6 with them, right? So first of all, which one of these answer choices can I immediately get rid of? Silver. Why can I get rid of silver? It's got or equal to, and my question doesn't have or equal to, so it can't be that one because I don't have or equal to in my question. All right? So now I have two choices. It can be greater than or less than. So I'm going to look. I'm going to go to 6. I'm going to jump to 6 here, and I'm going to look. Okay. Now, do you see how 6 has a 0 on it? That's because it's not or equal to, so I can't use the 6. The 6, I can't touch the 6. Okay? So when I look at my numbers here, are the numbers, as I move into the ones, are these numbers getting smaller or bigger? They're getting smaller, right? They're getting less. So it's less. If the ones the x's were getting bigger as they went into the ones, then we'd be greater. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? This is tricky, and so we're going to practice it. Okay? We're going to practice it with Look It. Sorry that you're not here, online people, but sucks to be you. Bye.